Hello and welcome to Total Channel. Today we are going to create a playlist. So that is going to be all the pieces of content that you want to play in your loop. Maybe you want those to play at a specific time. Uh, in the Total Channel world, the campaign is your playlist. Now, we don't call it a playlist until we actually push it out to a player because you are able to create playlists or what we call campaigns in your system and have them live there permanently. So you can see when I selected this little campaign tab from the drop-down menu, this is every playlist or campaign that I have created in the system that is still in there that I could use at any point in time. So I can scroll to different pages, different ones. You can see there's 3 different pages of layouts in the system, right? So just for easy use, just so you know, anytime you've created a campaign, it does not become a playlist until it's pushed to a player, but that campaign can be viewed, edited. You can see how many pieces of content are in it. If you've got it set to a specific location, if you're tracking any kind of advertising or tags for ad tracking, you can see that here. But really, today we're going to just create one from scratch. So the easiest way to do that is to use this little tab here that says create a campaign. So we'll click create campaign. And the first thing you want to do, of course, is give it a name. So maybe we'll call this TC test today. And you click next. And really, that's kind of all there is to it. There are sort of different campaigns that you can set up, but this is going to be the one that you use 99% of the time. Now, today, I'm going to go ahead and assign this out to a player so that when we create this playlist, we can preview it. Because my intention is to push that out to a player and show you kind of a demo of what we've created today. So I've given it a name and I've clicked save. Notice it's triggering me to publish my content changes. It's just saying, hey, you've pushed this campaign to a player. So until you hit this publish button, it's not really going to go out. But that's okay, because as you can see, we don't have any content in our campaign. So as you would suspect, you click this add new content button. Now, I have in the last step set up a layout for this same player that consisted of 3 zones and a background image. So since I know that that TC demo layout is there, I'm going to go ahead and set this campaign to make sure that my content, is relative to these 3 zones. So step 1 really is to always make sure a layout is pushed to your player. But for today's purposes, we're really showing you step 2, which is how to create this campaign or playlist. So we're going to give it a name. So let's also call this TC test. And then this is where you're really adding content to your playlist. So because we have a 3-zone layout, you can see here, we've got 3 zones. We can select where we want this particular piece of content, or maybe we're going to bring in a bunch of content. But let's just say for now, we want all of that content to go in the main media zone. You can also make any kind of content play full screen as well, just by ticking that button. So maybe we'll have this play for 7 seconds. And this is where you really decide what kind of content, where is this content that I'm putting in the playlist coming from? Is it just a file from my computer? Is it a live TV feed? Something from one of our 2 content creation tools? A web page? You can see there's lots of options. There's a nice little app store here with great content that you can drag and drop that's built in. For today, we will say it is a file from our computer. So I'm just going to select this choose files list. And, I really have the ability to kind of bring in each piece of content, or I can grab a few different pieces of content. So maybe I want to bring in these 4 pieces. So when I click open, a couple things will happen. They will slowly load here. If this piece of content already exists in your server, it's going to give you this little prompt that says, hey, this file with this name already exists in the server. Are you sure you want to upload it again? So it's a nice way to not let you bring in content that's already in your system, and you have the ability to go right here to your content library and grab it. But for today's purposes, I wanted to show you how easy it is to bring in new content. So I have 4 different pieces of content that I brought in. And then there's a couple things that we can set here, right? We can decide, where do we want this to come in? What zone, right? Maybe for this glitter eye picture, we want it to be in the side banner. And we can tick this box. You can see it's ticked to keep its aspect ratio. But if I want it to fit the zone that it's in, it'll stretch it a little bit. So depending on where your content is and what it looks like, you may or may not want to keep the aspect. But we're just going to start sort of setting what we want these parameters to be, right? Same with this one. We'll also set this light bulb picture to be in that side banner. And I'll also untick the box so that it fills up our zone. And then down here, maybe we do want to keep these in the main media section, this NYC picture and this TC Planet picture. Maybe we'll set these to play for 9 seconds each. Again, we'll untick the box because we do want it to fill up that zone, that full main media zone that we've selected. And then maybe we'll do the same with this one. Actually, you know what? Maybe when this one plays, we want it to be full screen, right? So we've kind of ticked the boxes and really done everything that we wanted here. We've selected this one full screen. So we're just going to click save. And that means that I have grabbed all of these pieces of content. I've set them for the specific time that I want them to play on a loop. I've set in this case 7 to 9 seconds each. Now, if I wanted this to play at a specific date and time, I could always add that here. Maybe this is an event that you want to play from a certain date range or a certain time range. You always have the option to do that. Notice here, though, it says all of these pieces of content that we brought in are waiting to be published. So again, until we actually hit this publish button, it's not going to go to the player. Now, this is here because we do have the ability to have approvers. So if I were changing this content and someone were my approver, it would let me publish and that's it. But my approver would see this page. And they could go in and view it and see if it's okay. And then they can publish it or not publish it based on whether they think it's appropriate or whatever their parameters might be. So if we go back to campaigns here, maybe we want to add more content or we just want to see what's going on, right? We're going to click on this campaign and we're going to go to TC Test. That's what we named our campaign. We're going to click on that. We're going to see we've got our 4 pieces of content. They are not set to play at any specific date or time. They're just playing on a loop, as you see here. So if we want to add more content, we can add new content. So let's bring in something for the bottom banner. We haven't done that yet, right? So maybe we would like the bottom banner to just be a text message, right? And we want that to be in the bottom banner. And maybe we want this to play, yeah, for 30 seconds. Now, this is where we're going to decide, again, what kind of media, where's it coming from, what are we doing? Well, we said we wanted this to be a text message. And maybe we want it to be a scrolling message. And you can just type in your text here. If you're like me, you have to check your spelling. And then this is where we can kind of decide what, it's really small, down, you know, it kind of defaults to gray or black. So we can just decide what we want. Maybe we kind of want that broadcast look and feel, right? So we'll you know, select a specific black background. Now, if you knew an exact RAL or color number to match any of your branding guidelines, things like that, that's where you can really go in and select it here. And then of course your font that you might want. Bold, italics, you get it. Now, it's pretty small up there. It's really hard to see. So one of the things we're going to do is maybe just drag this to make it a little bit bigger. So yeah, that's a nice little background, black with the yellow on top. That gives us the broadcast look I'm looking for. So we're just going to click save. Now, if I wanted this specific text message, just like anything else, like I said, to play at a specific time, right now I just have it playing on a loop for 30 seconds. But this is where I could say, hey, on this date, you know, I want this to play or end at a specific date, or maybe I want this to play, you know, Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, but you get the idea, right? So for now, we're not really going to select a time, but I just wanted to kind of show you how easy that was. So let's go back to our campaigns here. TC Test. We've now got our 6 pieces of content. Again, it's prompting us, hey, you haven't quite pushed out your text message yet, so we will have to publish that when we're ready. I'd like to maybe add one more piece of content. So if you saw in one of our other sessions for lots of the different comprehensive tools and resources we have, that one of those things is our app store, right? So maybe we're going to bring in a weather app. And we'll say that we want that to play in the main media section. And maybe we want that to play full screen for 10 seconds. And now if we want to go get something out of that app store, you just select App Store. So instead of a file, we're selecting App Store. And as you saw, if you watched the last session, is there's kind of little segments of the App Store, news, social media, but we said today we wanted to select weather. In the weather app, there's lots of different options. So maybe we want this 5-day forecast. And we're in Austin, Texas, so why not give us the Austin, Texas zip code? And we click save. So now we've brought in the weather, a few things in each zone. So we should probably go ahead and just publish that content. And it's prompting us to publish it. So we're going to go ahead and publish that content. Now, remember I said in the beginning, your playlist isn't really a playlist. We refer to it as a campaign until you actually go and push that out to a player. So we have done that. We sent that out to Lisa's demo player when we created the campaign. So we're going to click on playlists here. There's a couple things to show you. So if I just click on the name of the playlist, it's going to show us every piece of content in every section. So right now we've got 4 pieces of content in the main media section, a couple things in the side banner, and only the text message in the bottom. So what's nice about this is not only can I scroll forward and kind of preview this and see what I want to see, but what I like is oftentimes, especially if I'm putting things in a loop and I'm not scheduling them to play at a certain time, if I have videos mixed with still images, I like to mix those. So maybe, I've got these 2 full screen things back to back. So maybe I want that weather app to play first. So you can drag and drop where you have these things playing. And then you can just click save. Or this little button, just maybe I had 100 pieces of content, I can just shuffle that as well. But I like to be able to just, maybe I want the light bulb to play before the test. But it gives you kind of an idea that you have an easy way to sort of rearrange that content that you've brought in. So we're going to click save there. So that's one way to kind of preview and see what's playing in each zone. Another way is we'll go back to this playlist tab here. And if we want to just see an actual preview, there's this nice little TV button here. We're going to select that. And it's just going to bring up, it's kind of slow, it's got to load depending on your internet speed, but it's going to bring up a real preview for us to see what has been pushed out to that player. So remember, we said the weather was full screen and we wanted that to play first. So you'll see the weather play for its 10 seconds, but you can see this weather allowed us to have the background image and the overlay. So because we selected that smoky gray background and that total channel overlay, you're going to see that overlay, for example, here on the screen at all times. Again, that can be your company logo, but really this just gives you a nice way to preview what you've created and see if you like it. It's nice too, because this little share button here allows you to actually create a link of this and send it to someone. So if you created this and you wanted to get someone's opinion, maybe before you pushed it out to a player, you can always send that link to view it and let people kind of see what you've created. So that's it. We have shown you today how to create a nice little short playlist. It's got some static images, a text crawl, one of our apps from the App Store, but hopefully it gives you an idea of how easy to use the system is. So thank you for joining us.